There's my sustain pedal.
Maybe you look in your pocket, what do you find? Some change or a locket? Throw it away, not the change but the locket. Give the rest to us. Patreon, Patreon, it's where we get our rent. Patreon.com/ShaneCity.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 52 of That's a Shame.
My goodness.
One for each week of the year.
Don't be pushing this.
It's a week-themed episode.
We've been struggling.
Yeah. We haven't really planned today's episode.
No, the theme of the episode as it is will kind of reveal why.
Yeah.
But we haven't had a huge amount of time to plan.
But one of my suggestions was that because it was episode 52, we can make it about just years. Declan shot that down quite quickly.
Well, in terms of quality, it was minimal. In terms of vagueness, it was high.
I think that your lack of faith in that theme just suggests that you didn't have the creativity to draw something out of it. Because really, the theme doesn't matter.
I suppose you're
The
right.
show
Okay,
is-
well then off you go. Then let's do it.
What's in a year?
Yes.
If we cast our minds back, I'm Isaac, by the way, joining me as always.
It's Declan. Yep.
Hell of an episode. Don't know if I mentioned that.
Oh,
Head of years.
better than ever.
We're going to. No, we thought what we talk about today in episode 52 is a kind of update on our housing situation. And like we said a few episodes ago, once we'd moved in, we had a struggle with the whole process, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had to swim through the wet eyes of our estate agent. We had to surmount the preposterously challenging summit that was paperwork and proving that we were who we say we were, poor enough to live here.
But had new people who were rich enough that they might be able to live there.
Exactly. That they could chase someone and break their legs if we inevitably...
Yeah.
Not inevitably.
No.
Just if
it were the case
Yeah.
that come
Like
January,
when that happens.
when it's
after Christmas and stuff.
definitely. Well, or before.
Pissed it down the drain.
Could be before.
Could be this month. We've got to
be.
pay rent in a day.
Yep.
2 days. We should do that. But anyway, we thought we'd give an update about, what life's like now that we've moved in. Because it turns out there's no magic money tree.
Now that is, not topical because
Because the election was a little while back.
interesting.
But that's part of the year that was this 52 episode run from April to now.
to now,
Yeah.
which was what 7 months.
Something like that. But yeah, tutoring is the watchword for both of us.
Yeah.
We'd both kind of done this before and we talked about it on the show. It brings with it a very particular brand of nonsense because there's something quite odd. I don't know about you, but ever since the block switch fiasco makes it sound like a drug scandal or like we were caught up in sniffing coke on the Queen's back or something.
I like sniffing coke on the Queen's back, not off of it. We were blowing cocaine onto the Queen.
Get this, you madge. That's the way. But since then, the fact, just going into people's houses, it's just not as fun as it used to be. Kind of tainted. Every time I have to walk in, because when you're tutoring, it's all, the bit beforehand is all, obviously you're making up your qualifications and you're saying, yeah, I can teach that.
Yeah.
I charge
Sure.
what shot in the dark figure should we arrive at today? And that's all fine. But then when you arrive there, there's real people in a real house and you're locked in it quite often.
Very much.
By Joe or Angela or one of their many relatives scattered around the United Kingdom. So I guess a good springing off point, it's not an expression, would be a student that I had. It was maybe my first one when we moved here, because I was here for a week or something by myself. And I got this message on one of the tutoring sites from a family who were just looking for English GCSE help. Very simple. That's your standard offering.
Yeah.
Across the board. I'll do that, I thought, and I did. I got on the bus, the same bus that seems to go everywhere in London that we needed to.
204.
God bless the 204.
What a hero.
I got on. And as I was on the way to, where was it? The middle of fucking nowhere. That's the one. I got a text message that said, "Hi, Isaac. This is," then the person's name who I've been corresponding with.
What should we call them?
Sylvia.
There we go.
Couldn't be further from the actual name, and it was a man. But other than that, same idea. Got a text from Sylvia that said, "Hi Isaac, it's Sylvia. Really enjoyed the lesson today, but we're not going to need you again in future." What should we call the kid? Delilah, as a boy,
Yeah.
clicked better with another tutor. So this was while I was on the way there. That's not necessarily the best start.
No, I suppose if you were on your way to a job interview and they said, "You were really great, but we've got in another direction."
Yeah. I was thrown.
Yeah.
Not thrown enough that I changed my plan. I was still going. I replied back "Oh, thanks for letting me know. We haven't had the lesson yet. Am I still wanted?" And they, clever, replied back with just the one word "yes."
Okay.
So not really explaining what is by all accounts an odd situation.
Yeah.
I arrived. I was asked to take my shoes off before I got into the house itself. So it wasn't even a hall. It was like an outside porch. And so I was standing there, socked in the rain, before I entered a house that was perfectly normal by all standards. But for the fact that at the table, I don't remember that way, you've been more recently, but you go in, straight down, there was a big table off to the right. And sitting at the table was this kid, and then two people who were statue-like in their age. They looked like they'd been around for so long that cobwebs had cobwebs of their own in the corners. And they were sitting there and never really said anything for the whole hour that I was there, teaching this kid who was frankly quite stupid about a book that he claimed to have read but couldn't name any of the characters.
This is the Lord of the Flies, isn't it?
The very same. So he was supposed to be talking about the Lord of the Flies, all the while clearly didn't know much about it. The two grandparents, I'm going to assume, although neither of them could have had the dexterity to send a text message, so I doubt there must be an envoy, like the pangolins guy. They just sat there watching the whole time. But I left, put my shoes on, got back on the bus, and I was pretty much in the same place, but on the journey back, when I received a text. I thought, "Oh, what's that?" I've got my phone out. And it was exactly the same text as I'd had before. You could say I was perhaps doomed from the start with that family. But then you got a message from the same people.
Well, yeah. Well, I didn't know that it was the same people.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a message from someone,
Sylvia.
from Sylvia, saying that Delilah was in
Oh, what's she
desperate
like?
need of some GCSE tutoring. And I said, "Yeah, sure." And we arranged a date. But they hadn't disclosed their full address. That was a challenge for me.
That's nice.
See if I was worthy. And so I mentioned that I was heading towards Wembley, I think it is, to do this tutoring, but they hadn't given me their address. And I think I muttered Sylvia's name. And Isaac was like, "What? What's this?"
I collapsed to the floor.
And divulged the story to me, which didn't, I'll be honest, this is fill me with hope for the job. But he was at least able to give me their address.
That's true.
Which is good. So I made my way there. Now, the interesting thing for me is that I remember no outside porch.
Oh, yeah, there might not have been an outside porch.
cool.
It might have just been an overhang.
Oh, right, yeah. I think there was an overhang.
Isn't that what it's called?
It just makes it sound so horrid.
It was horrid. I didn't enjoy it.
Oh, dear. Well, I suppose you were shoeless in the rain, so you wouldn't have.
Not much fun.
But I was asked to take my shoes off immediately inside. But I was met by a single person who was by no means old. Not by any means young, but
Somewhere in the middle.
but certainly not the kind of aged crone that Isaac had described. I wasn't alone for the lesson though, because she did. She sat and talked to Delilah for a bit, and then she was like, "Great, well, yeah. I mean, you do your thing," and then proceeded to walk out of eyeline, and I was like, "Oh, okay, brilliant." And I turned to begin the lesson and noticed that she hadn't walked out of the room, and then turned around and she was just sat on a sofa behind me.
Oh no. Like a spectator gallery.
Yeah, like half kind of reading a magazine.
Did it have big eye holes?
And I wondered if that was, just for the beginning, but no, it was for the whole lesson.
It's weird, isn't it? I understand the impulse. You want to check that your kid's not going to be stabbed or something.
And also that you're not pissing this money down the drain.
I guess, but surely you trust your child enough to know that. Like, these are GCSE age, they're like 15, 16.
Yeah, but they wouldn't know. If they're students who need extra tutoring, maybe you don't trust them to be able to realise whether they're being fobbed off or not. The thing that I've noticed, though, is that most of the parents wouldn't have realised if they were being fobbed off either.
No, I found most of the parents to be more stupid than most of the children.
But more demanding.
Yes.
Less kind.
Yes.
I haven't had to tutor any horrible
people.
any horrible kids yet.
No, me neither. But parents have been a shame. I think the kind of person who wants tutoring, no offence to any of you, are often a bit pushy.
Mad as well. Very mad. What I don't like is parents who are too vague, but also parents who are too specific. Like, if you're looking for someone to come and tutor, you should have an idea of what you'd like them to do. But don't sit there and tell them exactly what to do. Like, it's not a difficult balance to achieve. But, like, I've been to houses where they've gone, thanks for coming. And I'm like, yeah, so what is it exactly that they're looking for help with? Okay, English. I go, right, okay.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
There's a GCSE in that.
They do that now,
Yeah.
1 to 9.
Nice.
But anything specifically? Yeah, kind of the reading and writing aspect of it.
That's
reading and
that's
writing
major stuff, actually.
They all struggle with that. Yeah.
They're kind of the big two.
But then I've also been to households where they go, right, now, she needs work on punctuation. Okay.
Specifically.
And I go, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then so commas, apostrophes,
the usual gang.
full stops, she's not great at the old compound complex sentences, subordinate clauses in between commas, which kind of frame the clause, and have rattled on for 10 minutes telling me exactly what they want me to tutor her while she's there. I'm like, well, if you weren't an idiot, I'd say you could just bill me for 40 minutes. You've done most of it. Like, it's just mad that you think, well, why are you paying me?
Yeah. There's a lot more money
it all.
than sense in
Very much.
tuition. And the guy at this seminar that I went to on Saturday, that was quite dull, but it had a few moments that made it entertaining, of which one was him in answer to a question about, I think, parents' expectations, because they were kind of emphasising that they're a very high-end agency, so they have a lot of clients who are going for the top schools, and they want to make it clear that it's not your job to get people into a school or to get them a specific grade. And he was like, a lot of tuition, it's based on a lot of desperate hope. It's like, I was the only one who laughed, and he was like, no, it is. I was like, I believe you. It definitely is. Like, it's a last-ditch attempt for lots of people.
Yeah.
Well, that's one sector of people anyway. On the other hand, there is another job that I've supposed to have sent something off for that I haven't, because it sounds quite depressing, that was essentially like being a tuition nanny.
Oh, what, for this Chinese boy?
Yeah, so there's a 5-year-old Chinese boy whose family live in they offered like a live-in option in a penthouse in Kensington.
God, you could have Mary Poppins'd your way.
That would have been amazing, wouldn't it? I'd have a
Through
big
London.
bag that was just everything. Bring a big fold-out hat stand, try and achieve the same
But instead,
effect.
it's all just broken. I had to crush it to get it in the
Smash
back.
it the fucking. But yeah, the guy called me up from that agency, and he was like, yeah, so they have a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. The 9-year-old girl has a tutor Monday to Saturday, full-time, and he, or she, I can't remember, takes them to school, picks her up, then they do like a couple of hours of work, go through all the homework that you get when you're 9, you remember?
Dreadful.
Busy time, year 4. And then on Saturday, that's their main day of work, as if they hadn't just been at school all week. And then the girl also had a Sunday tutor that was like their fun tutor, which is what they wanted me to be for this little kid. And it was, they'd got someone for him to do Monday to Saturday for a 5-year-old Taken to school, taken back, do homework, which is just meaningless. Saturday was his busy day, and then Sunday it was like organise educational trips to the museum and stuff. How very depressing that this family want nothing to do with their children.
I know. Not only want nothing to do with their children, but want their children to live a boring life. Like,
Yeah.
want them to miss out on childhood.
Just imagine the amount of pressure that would have been on me to make Sunday counteract the tedium
6 days.
of 6 days of tuition bullshit when you're 5.
Yeah, so they're kind of like the abdication of responsibility sector of tutoring. I don't want anything to do with this.
It's weird to like be so pushy about your kids, have like such specific expectations for them. He's going to do this, he's going to the top university, but then also not to want to interact with them at any point in that process. It's a bit like having your cake and eating it too approach to childcare. To be like, well, he's going to be great. It's just none of it's going to be from me. Like, someone's going to make him great. I'm just going to not be involved in that process.
I'm just the money man.
Yeah, I'm bankrolling this kid. Okay, doctor, actor, lawyer, whatever. Go for it. On the whole, tutoring fills me with a kind of despair.
Yeah. I mean, every now and then you have kids who are quite interesting, and that's good. But then you also have parents who have mad requests for them as well. Like the one I was telling you about yesterday, where I turned up and he was like, the main problem he has is that his writing is dull.
Brutal.
And the kid was stood there. He's like 9 years old or something. And he's kind of like
What's he
looking up.
expecting from a 9-year-old?
I know.
Some fantasy novel.
So he's like, he needs to make his writing more interesting, you know. So
I'm just falling asleep here, marking this kid's bullshit. Isn't that right, Dave? You little disappointing shit.
you and your soporific descriptions of
Learn
your
a
life.
few adjectives, you stupid idiot.
So he was like, so if you could help with that. And I was like, what, like make your kid more interesting?
That's a very different service.
So we did some stuff on, sprucing up sentences.
Yeah.
Not just simple sentences. Let's have some clauses in there. Come on, some subordinates. And then I was like, and what I'd also like you to do, because I just wrote this like really boring paragraph in all simple sentences about, I have a cat. My cat's name is Albert. It is a ginger cat, but it has lost some of its hair. And I was like, spruce this up, make it a bit more interesting.
I'm, to be fair, quite captivated about this hair loss subplot.
My cat
why?
has alopecia.
What scared him so much?
And he was like, so should I add in words? And I was like, yeah, brilliant. I was like, oh.
Not just any words.
I was like, he knows what he's up. He knows what he's up to. So off he went, and all he did was changed two of the simple sentences to one compound sentence,
Right.
and then added the singular adjective to make it, I have a huge cat. And other than that, nothing.
Wow. Yeah. Some people are unsalvageably dull, young man. It's going to be a long lifetime
I just
for
stood
you.
up, went into the kitchen, like handed in my resignation. There's nothing I can do for this kid.
Unsavable.
The only thing he could think to say of a balding cat was it was
huge?
big.
That is a shame, isn't it?
I also set him, like I wrote down a list of really basic adjectives, and I asked him to go through and write a synonym for each one on there. And he said about it. And when I came back, there were 10 on the list, and he'd written horrible for 3.
Oh, wow.
And he'd
What does
spelt
that say
it
about
differently all 3 times, like a real hedging your bets kind of situation.
That's a bold approach. I've just pulled up something that I'd forgotten about, which is a message I got on one of the tutoring sites from someone we'll call Dean. Only one letter away
see
from his
that,
actual
yeah.
name.
But which
I've
one?
now revealed. That's right, Deeb. This was a man looking for singing lessons, brackets, intermediate.
Oh, yes, I remember this.
I am looking for sing teacher. I am 51 and have sung for all of my life. Well, since I was 8. He's already contradicted himself a little. I started at my first school, good place to start, and soon ended up getting scholarship to the something school in Wales. Since then, I've sung with and for every man and his dog. There's no punctuation in this case, that wasn't obvious.
Did you offer him writing lessons instead?
Here you go, Sean. For Every Man and His Dog, BBC Choir Bedford Choral Society. So many male voice choirs, I cannot remember. I do many one-day workshops with people, such as... Never said.
That's reminding
He
me of
left
something.
that to put in later, I think. When I made someone up.
Yeah.
This was up to about 10 years ago. Now this is written very dramatically. When I got sick. Really sick. And not until about 18 months ago did I restart to sing. It took me a year.
Restart to sing.
Yeah, it took me a year to find the chorus I sing with now. LGMC. This is my favourite bit. The London Gay Men's Choir. It's quite well known. Brackets. Just for the record. I so knew what was coming here.
Yeah.
Just for the record, I am not gay. The only straight member! Exclamation mark. I sing tenor to tenor. At a push.
Now, with the gay choir thing, does that mean that he lied to them to get in?
Don't know. It's
did
really
they
cut their
just
into
decide that they'd let in
token.
one straight guy?
Let's have a look. I don't know how they'd police. Maybe it's just self-policing on the grounds that, like, it is a
You won't be
place for
applying.
gay members. Like,
Yeah.
why would you apply if you were not? Do you think they have an FAQ where that's the only one?
Yeah.
No, nothing's... Oh, join us. Here we go. Oh, they do have FAQs and it's none of them.
Oh, come
That's
on.
not realistic, is it? That
No.
must be the
That
question
must
they
be the
asked.
most frequently asked question they get.
It literally does not mention being gay. Not even once.
Is it just supposed to mean happy here?
don't know. Well, look, one of the first reviews of them is I've never really had a strong group of gay friends. A strong group of gay friends. Like bodybuilders. Okay, back to Sean. So, just for the record, he's the only straight member. He had to wait a year for them to offer me place and have done one season with them, which started in January with 7 or 8 or 9 gigs between January and August. Blah, blah, blah. The reason I want tuition is I've picked up a few bad habits, ... That's the first bit of punctuation. And that worries me because why he's being kind of cagey about his bad habits. If he's only going to use punctuation once, I don't
can't-
want it to be an ellipsis.
He can't sing without stripping entirely naked.
Bad habits ... And my gap has left me with a confidence problem because I want a solo, but I don't trust me. My voice has improved 11-fold since January, but it's not enough. I've stopped caffeine sugar milk. I still have a bad illness, so use a lot of drugs, brackets, morphine. Once upon a time, I had an amazing voice. I want it back. It's still sleeping, I hope. Well, walking slowly. I have 5 or 6 shows before Christmas, blah, blah, blah. My illness leaves me in constant crippling pain, but music is the best drug, so I sing and it makes me happy. My question to you is, can you help me? How can you help me? And will you help me? Please get in touch if you can help me. Regards, Sean.
That end bit sounds like a kind of coded message, like he's a hostage. If you could help me, then please help me. So help me if you can.
Do you think if I read every first sentence, he's like been kidnapped?
That's like that amazing tweet that was like, I definitely wouldn't, bear with me, use some kind of cheap code, no really, bear with me, to imply that I was being held hostage. No, just bear with me by a bear.
That is a great joke.
The best thing about that joke is, what was the impetus
Yeah, why
for
did they
that?
think of that? Well, they were being held hostage by a bear, then, is the only explanation.
Yeah, that's it.
Because when else would you think of it?
No, that's it. Solved.
Done.
Rip him.
Tick.
So you got back in touch.
Yeah, within the same day. Never heard back.
His email reminded me of dear friend and flatmate Mark,
Oh, I know him.
who had a telephone interview the other morning
Yeah.
for like just a part-time job that he was going for. And they called at kind of the crack of dawn. And he said he was still asleep when he answered. But it's one of those things where they go, so are you okay to talk? You can't really go, no, actually, I'm in bed at the moment.
It's midday, you say. Oh, well, it's
So
all relative.
he was like, yeah, sure, like, go on. Yeah, what do you want to know? And they started going down this line of questioning. And I asked him, how'd it go? Was it all right? And he went, I don't know. They were very vague. And I was like, yeah, no, they often
the way,
are
isn't it?
telephone interviews.
It's like a script
yeah.
going from.
So what sort of things did they ask you? And he said, well, one of the questions was, "What do you expect?" And that was
The
it.
end.
That was the end
I
of
like
the
to think
question.
that there was like maybe 3 minutes of silence as he waited for the end of what to expect.
I like to think that it was just like they forgot to turn the page. There was a whole other page of questions with the end of this one.
It's a great question in a way because it would throw you off guard.
I wouldn't know what to say.
I'd just start
Tomorrow.
talking for so that's good. This job. That would be the bold approach.
I was saying to Daz that's like one of those fucking horrid, fake bullshit, urban myth, Oxbridge entry exam
where it's
stories.
like, what is bravery?
Yeah, this. And he handed
And
it
he
in.
got in. And that kid, Albert
Einstein.
Kidstein. Yes, that is a shame. They say that about every single school that has an exam. They're like, oh my God, did you hear about the guy in the year above?
He just wiped his ass with the paper and threw it at
He told the teacher they were a fucking idiot and they bowed to him and made him proctor. They're not a proctor, isn't it?
He just went in screaming the N-word and they made him head of all the
Diversity.
societies. I was watching the news earlier and they were talking about Mugabe's at last resignation.
Yeah.
And there was a guy being interviewed who was the whitest person I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came,
Transparent like a newborn fish.
yeah, like genuinely, it was like interviewing Casper.
Wow.
But when his name and title came up, he was, whatever his name was, director of the Royal African Society. I was like, well, that in a nutshell is the problem
Wow.
with everything.
That's a shame,
come
isn't
on. It's like when on University Challenge last year, they had the, what is it called? Is it like the School for Oriental and
SOAS,
African?
yeah.
Science.
Oriental African Studies. I thought.
Yeah. And
Which is
they
in
were
London.
all white. And I'm, well, come on. Like, do yourselves one favour.
Yes, that's not trying very hard.
No.
I was thinking on one of my many bus journeys around London.
Yeah.
Will I look back on this time of my life and be like, God, I really got to travel a lot.
God, I tell you what, those days on the 251 to Totteridge and Whetstone,
Goodness, take
there's
me
nothing
back.
like them.
Earning pennies an hour.
Sat at the Arnos Arms, just waiting.
I keep arriving early to places and then having to find like somewhere tragic. So I don't want to go in someone's house early in case I have to talk to them.
No, I know,
So
goodness.
because I want to be paid, I'm arriving like 15 minutes early and then just have to find like a bus stop to sit in. So sad.
I think my least favourite aspect of the entire process is having to use other people's toilets.
Oh, I've not ever done
Which
that.
they are
refuse.
universally
Horrid.
grim. Like, even in some really nice houses, like one or two of the people that I tutor live in like really nice kind of houses, borderline mansions. And even then, their toilets are like a dingy little cupboard under the stairs where you have to kind of like crouch to get in and to get out. It's just madness. Like, what? How have I always? Is it everyone else's home? How have I managed to avoid living in houses with grim toilets for my whole life?
People's like, it's not just the architecture, it's the
decor.
hygiene.
Oh, and the hygiene. Yeah,
That's what gets me.
Yeah.
I resent ever having to use anyone's
I
bathroom.
wouldn't touch anything in there. Not even the toilet.
No, not even the flush. Leave that to the staff. I'm here to teach, not to flush.
I also, like, every now and then I discover things that I, like, becoming more and more uncomfortable with as well. Like, just drinking water at someone else's house. Like when they
Other
go,
people's cups.
it's not their cups that gets me, it's their taps. I'm very grateful for one boy that I tutor called Norbert,
That's
which
so
is just
amazing.
great anyway. But who always
Imagine
has,
naming a baby Norbert.
looking at it and going,
That's a Norb.
there he is. Oh,
Little baby Norb.
that's some slur for sure.
It is not.
But he always has some like bottled Evian water there.
Got a dash
for me.
button.
So yes,
I did some
every
research
now and
into
then.
dash buttons, and they're all on sale because it's Black Friday. Turns out the only three markets they cater for are different types of water, like washing equipment, and 80% of it is cat food. Why have cats got the monopoly on dash buttons? They're so needy.
You could probably train them to
Press
hit it themselves.
That's what I was thinking. Should we do that? We don't have a cat. We could
All
just
the
get some
money
cat
for
food
cat
anyway. Just really start living.
Yeah.
I also had to have my first ever conversation with Amazon support the other day. Because my computer was being weird, so I had to get something to fix it. And it didn't arrive. They did that thing where it said failed delivery, like we tried to deliver it. And I was in the house all day. We simply did not.
Yeah.
Also, I'm having all kinds of trouble with any deliveries here anyway.
It is a real struggle, isn't it?
Because by the time anyone gets here, they're so annoyed at me for living here. And I don't need that vibe when they step out of the lift, because it's not my fault that the postcode doesn't lead you here, but to somewhere else entirely. And it's not my fault that I live on the 4th floor and that the building didn't design a mail room. Like, what am I supposed to say? I'm always just really apologetic.
I just like
obsequious.
It's farcical that it takes so long to have a postcode put onto postcode systems. Like, they knew this development was going to be here. What's the danger of putting it on before the building's open? That someone's going to ask you to deliver it to a building site.
They just post it straight
like
into a
builders
crane.
ordering a Domino's. You've got like chuck it over the
Thought of that. Yeah, you can't get takeout to work if you're building a new building.
Dreadful, isn't it?
That's awful. Builders do have it hard.
So I had a Morrison's order. Wanted to have Morrison's order delivered for their wonky veg boxes. Get on this hype, British residents.
Now, it is a shame that it's called wonky, granted.
Yes.
It makes it sound like it's engaged in, like,
Sexual
backhand
perversion.
dealings, John Lasseter-ing its way around.
Let's not. It's still too soon.
It is like an hour since we found out, so it's pretty soon. But yeah, it is a great idea.
So anyway,
We're not even sponsored by Morrison's.
no. But if
But
you
if
are
you're
interested,
listening, Morrison's,
but yeah, they don't sell them in store, so you have to have it delivered. And so I was setting this up, and of course typed in our postcode. It was like, oh, sorry guys, we don't deliver there.
it's like, well, I can see it
I
from
was
here.
like, well, I'm sure you do. So I typed in the address for the station, which is literally opposite our house. And they were like, yep, sure.
That's even too close.
So
walk that one in.
So I just put in that postcode and then left delivery instructions. And then I rang.
Great instruction. It's not that place.
It's opposite. Just look opposite. And then I rang up Morrison's to be like, hey, so this is the case. Do you want to pop that on there? And he was like, oh, yes, no problem. What I've done, I've made sure that the note's on there, and I will, I've passed it on to our like delivery department, and they're going to put you on the system and put your postcode on there, and I'll give you a ring back to let you know that it's all A-OK. Oh, well, thank you very much. And he rang back 40 minutes later going, I'm sorry, you don't exist. Your postcode is fictional. It won't be the case. If you ever want to deliver, you'll have to do the same mad system of putting in the station postcode and hoping that they can find you.
It's so lame. Like, it's just not a problem that should exist.
No. And then my girlfriend and I ordered a Deliveroo. Now, admittedly, this was very lazy of us, but I was just tired. I didn't want to go out because it was a place that's just down the road.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, if they're going to deliver,
Someone gets paid for delivering.
Exactly.
Admittedly, not much,
No, not enough.
but more than nothing.
Yeah. So we ordered it, and then it was like, hey, out for delivery, and you can track your like deliverer on the app. It like shows where they are.
Creepy.
And it was the maddest, most infuriating process
were they just
of
going
watching
round
them
the houses?
go past the road and then turn around and then go back past it the other way, and then they were like round the other side of a different building, and then he kind of rang me and he was like, where are you? And he's like, I'm on your road. I am. And I was saying, yeah. And then I just ended up resorting to the most primitive of means, which was opening the window and leaning out and like waving him in like a ship coming into shore, just like beckoning him over to the door and then having to go and like see him. And it's like, well, just, it shouldn't be this difficult.
No. I feel like we don't deserve that.
No.
We've moved on.
This is a bit of a first world problem, isn't it?
Quite millennial.
Yeah. We
We had the similar problem. Did I mention this on the podcast? Except instead of a Deliveroo driver, it was an ambulance that was needed for someone who was almost unable to breathe at this point.
You did say this.
Did I mention it on the podcast?
No, not on the podcast. I
Yeah,
think.
well, my girlfriend's housemate is asthmatic and was having an asthma attack that the inhaler was not controlling. And I woke up at like 8 a.m. or something to my phone ringing. Quite surprised that I woke up because normally I just would not have done. And it was my girlfriend who was like, "Can you bring me a coat and some shoes?" I was like, "What are you talking about? I've been awake for 1 second." And she'd been standing out in the front of our little development, like trying to find an ambulance that was due. It'd been, I think, 35 minutes it took to get there in the end. The hospital is like spitting distance away. But we were standing there and we heard sirens coming. Like, I called 999 back to be like, "Hi." So anytime it could arrive would be great if we get the old hurry up on, because they can like track where it is. And then we heard while I was on the phone sirens approaching, so I was like, "Oh, it's probably here." And she was like, "I'll stay on the line." We saw it pulling up and we're like, "Yeah, there it is. Thank you for your help." Hung up. And then it just put all its sirens back on and accelerated vroom, right the way down the road. I was like, "Well, she's dead." That's not going to last. And eventually the only way it worked was I watched them. I kind of ran out to the end of the road and it's like two-way traffic. And it gets really busy at rush hour, that road, because it's like near the North Circular. And I could see it making not that much progress, but it's down like the very other end of the road. And they started doing a turn. And then I just had to, like, as they approached, just stop all the traffic myself. Be like, "No, not now." And like waving at them like a mad person.
Well, I had
She didn't die in the end.
a similarly infuriating experience today on the bus home, where the bus was driving down a road and there were kind of cars parked on either side. So it kind of went down to single lane in the middle. And there was an ambulance approaching us with blue lights flashing. And for some reason, the bus driver decided to try and go ahead anyway.
Ooh, incorrect.
And then had to come to a stop and was in this kind of Mexican standoff with the ambulance and just didn't do anything. That was the thing that confused me and the other people on the bus. Was
Like a
I was
panicked
expecting
turkey.
just, like maybe reverse and let the ambulance
No.
pass. But she just sat there and did nothing. And then the ambulance was like, "Well, we're a fucking ambulance with our lights flashing. You're the 251 to Arnos Grove. Like, get out of the way." So I went up to the front and I was like, "Well, what's going on? Like, can you not?" And she went, "Yeah, there's cars behind." I went, "Well, open the door and I'll like tell them to fuck off." And she went, "I'm not allowed to reverse." And I went, "Well, those
Not
are two
allowed to
different
reverse?
arguments." I was like, "What do you mean? Like,
What a rule.
I'm sure that rule does not exist to prevent you from letting someone get to hospital who's dying."
It does, actually. That was why it
Like,
was written.
I was like, "But if that was the rule, why would you bother saying there were cars behind?" I was like, "You just don't know how to reverse." Like
Never tried.
that's it here, because otherwise the first argument is moot because it doesn't matter. And she went, "No, I can't." I went, "But you have to." She went, "Well, I'm
You
not."
take over. If you've
And
done
that is how I ended up. Oh, yeah, I would have
crashing
done it.
85 tons of metal.
And,
into
and
an
so,
ambulance.
And so the fucking ambulance had to reverse to let her through.
That's a shame,
So that
isn't
it could go. Imagine being that much of a prick.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
I was going to say about when you were talking about ambulances around here is that our road is opposite a road down which is an NHS blood drop centre.
I wondered what that was. I saw a
Right.
big sign about blood and...
So it's like a blood bank, essentially, I believe. But what it means
No
is...
coincidence that we moved there.
No. So, but what it does mean is that every now and then you'll be walking down the road and a car will go past you that just says on it like
Full
blood.
of vampires.
Like it's just blood. And then and sometimes on the front of the cars they have like the message "Give blood" written on them. You're like, but not to the car.
No, not like a sacrifice
jump
to
in front of
Christine.
it.
Have all this!
Have mine. Take it.
That's horrid. Have you ever given blood?
Once.
How is it?
Fine.
I think I'm afraid of it.
Of course.
'Cause
you
of the
have.
pulse
You've
bit.
probably only got like a litre in you.
I've got loads, mate. I've got spare.
Oh, really? So what
carry
you're
it
saying
around.
is that you're deliberately keeping it all to yourself, you selfish
I'm a blood
git.
greasy. Oh, look, I'm not afraid to admit it. No, I just don't like the idea of the tourniquet. that I assume you have to have applied.
Sake.
Can't deal with
Just get over yourself.
I'll try.
I love that your 1 minute of discomfort is worth more than the potential lives you could save with all your spare
But
blood.
that's the thing, though. I don't think I do have that much spare blood. And I know, what if, to offset that karmic balance, I just really encourage you to give blood? Like, would you give blood on my behalf?
What? What? So I have to give twice
Yeah.
as much?
Would
Just
you do
come
that?
home and emaciate
Be-
fucking ghoul.
Would you do that?
No,
That's
I'm not
friendship.
giving twice
Come
as much
on.
blood. Get
What,
out
so
of
you're
fucking
gonna
town.
you're gonna
No, the real
steal
friendship
your
is me
blood?
knocking you out and bringing you along to
Yeah, I
help you
wouldn't
get
mind.
over your fear.
I don't think they'd allow general anaesthetic for blood transfusion. Blood transfusion, bloody hell. I'm not giving all of it.
Straight in.
Here you go.
Do you have a donor's card though? Are you an
Yeah,
organ
I'm an
donor?
organ donor, apart from my eyes.
No,
These guys
no,
are
you're
staying
not.
with
You better fucking not. Be.
No, I don't think I am.
You better fucking
I'm
not.
pretty
be.
sure I'm not.
I will be changing it on your behalf if that's so.
Why is it
If
so many people
when I'm,
do it,
When
do
I'm inevitably with you when you go, I
Wow.
will be telling them. He specifically wanted his eyes
He wants
taken
them ripped
first.
out just on the cusp.
He was like, even if no one needs them, get rid of them.
He wants his last words to be my eyes," as they're stolen, plucked from his skull.
Imagine thinking that, being like, oh yeah, you could take my brain, my heart, my liver, my pancreas, but not the eyes. Like, what's the motive behind that?
Window to the soul.
If I wake up, I'll need them in my heartless, brainless, lungless, liverless
No, I think
body.
it's just that people must forget that your corpse goes through some treatment before it's disposed of anyway. Like, if you were going to have an open casket with no brain, heart and eyes, that would be a shame. But obviously, they have procedures to remedy that.
Yeah. Well,
Golf ball in the
and
socket.
as well, like, I'm pretty sure the eyes are the first thing to go anywhere when you're rotting. It's just
What makes you say that?
it's just a horrid ball of water.
That's often. Have you ever buried like a jelly bean? Because if
Don't
not,
go
you
telling me.
haven't
Don't go telling me
lived.
this was another thing alongside sucking bugs out of the ground. This is another thing that you.
No, we did have to bury a jelly bean once.
Who's we?
Just the gang.
These men who used to come to my door.
Come on, guys. Everyone beans at the ready. No, I think it was a biology-related thing. It was an experiment to show like
and just
that
before,
they won't grow.
just before. There was an epidemic after the local pantomime of Jack and the Beanstalk of people just throwing sweets into
They're
dirt.
like, we're going to nip this in the bud.
Yeah.
Little plant joke there.
So is your argument that the jelly bean is biologically similar to the eyeball?
Very much so. It's the eye of the sweet world.
So if
Apart from jelly eyes.
we'll replace your eyes with some jelly beans.
It'd have to be a big jelly bean.
Yeah, no, or just several.
I don't want it to
Tacked
just be like
together.
a jelly bean holder. Like a big cup in the arm.
Yeah,
In the arm? That's
yeah,
not where
that's
I
where his eyes are. No, I'm sure that they're going to go before your bones, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Especially these bad boys. They've got 1,000 years at least.
Isaac's bones are mostly plastic.
It's really quite powerful. Okay, so you wouldn't donate blood on my behalf, but if I needed a kidney, that's it.
No, but they're different things. I was going to have to
I know,
give
but
twice
I've
as much
just
blood
changed it up.
to someone else. So you're saying, would I give someone
Hang on,
else
yes.
my kidney so you didn't have to? No,
If we were
this
both
isn't-
matching,
this isn't-
and I really needed mine, and I
What
knew
do you
that
mean you really needed
I had a
yours?
project
I'm
coming
the
up.
alcoholic among us. Okay.
Okay, well, not kidneys then. Let's say arms. So say because I play the piano, so I need both my arms. What do you do?
I'm a writer.
Yeah, give you a left. What's that done for anyone?
Types.
Don't,
It hits
you can
the A.
Voice command. You're going to deprive the world of a left arm.
Yeah.
That's really
Why?
quite
Well,
sickening.
why would someone else need it more than I do?
Because they really do.
Well, that's not an argument, is it?
How about they're the person that waves planes in to their big bays? Like you and the pizza man.
Like maybe they get a different job, or maybe we
their
have
whole
a,
family
or maybe
was
they
like-
have a better severance package.
Severance.
Oh,
I get it. They actually lost it in a rotor for a plane, so that's a very insensitive joke. You wouldn't give an arm. You wouldn't give blood. Are you the
no,
least generous man in Britain?
No, I would give blood. I just wouldn't give your blood.
No, you said you would give my blood.
Well, I would give.
You would
I'd
your
make
blood.
you give your blood. I wouldn't give my blood on your behalf.
How much would you charge for a... How much blood do you give when you give blood?
Isn't it like 2 pints?
So how much are you charging for 2 pints of blood? We'll auction it off for Patreon. That's going to be our top tier reward. We have On the Bench and then
And a
Blood
pint
Brothers
of Declan's blood.
to do with As You Please. Do you remember? Oh, we should do an episode about this with a bit more preparation. We looked at Craigslist one night and there was more than one. Oh no, this was me and Jacob, I think. We were looking at Craigslist at the requested section, which is always the weirdest bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's either that or the what's going for free section, which is just it
don't
simply is
ever go there.
the props
Evidence.
to a murder.
It's just
Yeah.
evidence, all of it.
But in the requested section, we were looking in the UK at large because it doesn't break. It's not used as much as in America, and we found more than one listing from more than one user for fresh mouse blood. What could that be for? What could
That's for
be for?
mouse blood pie,
Oh, of course, mouse transfusions.
black pudding.
So if they're giving mouse blood away to this guy for free, how much would you charge if someone was like, I want to buy your blood?
At least a tenner,
Yeah?
depending how busy a week it had been on the tutoring
How
front.
much do you get for donating things? If rent's ever not going well?
Nothing.
What? Not blood, I mean like other things.
Like what?
Semen.
Oh, I don't know. I've never looked into it. I apparently should though, because apparently they're calling
Oh,
for
gingers.
ginger semen.
I don't think the semen's ginger.
Look, it's in spirit.
Okay, shall we make that an episode then? Declan's experience
The experience of
Donate.
wanking into a cup.
to make
For
ginger
money.
kids. That is basically
I'll do it for the
sex
show.
work, isn't it? Would you?
Yeah.
But you wouldn't give blood.
You keep twisting this onto me
I think listeners will make up their own minds.
when really it's clearly your own
it's
cowardly...
not, it's a phobia. It's a legit phobia.
No, it's
It
not.
really is. It's
It's
not
not a
being scared
legit
of
phobia.
buttons.
It
It's a
might as
cool
well
one.
be.
It's being
You're-
scared of mortality.
You're afraid of being alive.
No, I'm afraid of not being alive.
No, you're not. But the pulse is the opposite of that. You
Yeah, but it's a
fucking freak.
reminder. It's like
It's a reminder that you are alive, so you can die.
pretty much.
If they took my pulse and it wasn't there, I'd be fine because I'm like, well, I'm already dead. Clearly, there's nothing to worry about. You fucking weirdo.
It's like if someone's scared of the passing of time. Like if you were scared of dying, hearing clocks go and knowing that you exist in time would freak you out.
Does it?
It doesn't freak me out.
You just said you were afraid of dying.
Well, I love clocks. Plus ours doesn't even tick. It's got
just-
a silent hand. I
it
don't
definitely goes faster.
I think it moves erratically. We've got a clock for which the second hand doesn't tick. It just sort of slides towards...
Absolute pervert.
I don't like it at all. It's like a hand running across someone's thigh.
Did I tell you, I had a really bad night's sleep last night because
I wasn't in the house.
I think it was to do with that.
Were you alone?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, it's your first night alone.
Yeah, but I had a really weird dream that I can't remember.
Did you feel like you had too much blood?
I had about 4 pints excess. No, but I woke up and I, like, in that kind of sleep paralysis, half waking way,
Oh, yeah.
hallucinated you opening my bedroom door
Hallucinated.
and just like sticking your head in and just looking at me.
Right.
And I just like bolted awake at that, and the door was clearly closed. But then I couldn't sleep for the next like 3 hours
Why am I haunted?
because I was just staring at the door in case it opened.
What an idiot.
I know. I like. It,
What
I
does that
was
say that
genuinely
you're
unnerved.
Scared of me appearing? Do you think
No,
I'm too
it's just
much?
anyone. It was like I
It
think
wasn't just
I think
anyone.
I retrospectively put your face
Over a ghost.
into that face because. Like they say about dreams,
kind
like
of rationalise
most of the information you put back into it when you try and
Yeah.
remember it. And trying to rationalise it, I put your face on it. But it was just the fact that there was a face kind of like creeping in the door. I get that way because you've borne witness to me shouting
Oh,
myself
God.
awake.
That was very alarming.
It's something that it doesn't happen very frequently, but I
when
do
it
have
does-
night terrors every now and then, and I like shout myself awake.
But it was a weird
but I-
shout because it was like a shout that you do when you're demonstrating a shout rather than like full on like.
Yeah.
It wasn't like like full throated.
No.
It was like a muted shout.
It's because you slightly paralyze yourself when you sleep, so that you don't. If you dream, you
my
don't go
favourite bit of
walking
all.
away. And if you've ever had the nightmare where you try to shout but you can't, it's because it's that kind of it's your body stopping you. And that's at least one of the the theories. Yeah, but so when I do this, I'm like shouting in my sleep and then like into waking, and so it's like the dying end of the scream. I'm like, ah!
That's so weird.
It is odd.
I wouldn't like that at all.
No, I had a very mad dream last
It's safe
week.
to broadcast.
It is safe to broadcast. It was mental, like all dreams are. But it's the only dream I've ever had that in retrospect made me really laugh at it, as well as at the time. I was waiting to go into what I'm going to call a bar.
Okay.
But it was a bar, but it was, while I was queuing, it was a betting shop. And then when I got in there, it was a bar, but it was mostly just like round tables set up with a bar at the head, and above the bar was like a big screen, and everyone was watching something on this screen. And anyway, I went in and I was sat at the bar and I ordered a drink, and the drink came and I was sipping away at it. And this guy from the side of the room shouted something out, like he was taking the piss out of me for having a drink. And he was calling me an alcoholic.
No.
And I, fiercely defended myself, like I threw an insult back at him. And then the dream turned into this weird kind of slagging match between us. It was like a war of words with him, and he was kind of doing this weird cinematic thing where he walked around the edge of the room, kind of behind everyone. So we were slinging our voices across, and everyone was, laughing and reacting and coming back. And then he got kind of ever closer, and the insults started getting more intense, and the jokes kind of getting a bit more vicious. And then he got to me, and he started doing this weird pantomime routine where he seemed to be, I don't know, I think he was like testing my eyes or pretending to silently. And he had like a big cardboard cone that he like put up to my eye and like pretended to be looking into it. And it went on for so long. And then he turned to everyone, and in that kind of amateur comedian clearly dictating a punchline, he said, and don't go looking for any meaning in it, but he said, "Coh, you've made it like Moscow in here." Right? Silence from the room.
They didn't laugh.
And a man in the front row, who's clearly, I like to think of him as our combined consciousness formed into this character, just looked at him after 30 seconds of silence and went, "Well, you fucked it, mate."
That's great.
That's
a double heckle.
I know. And I wake up.
A meta heckle.
I wake up. I retrospectively laughed at my own dream. Like, what a hero.
That is good. That's like your little dream guide that you could take with you to any dream, and you could always just commentate on what was going on.
I hope so.
Next time that ghost comes
Fairy dream mother.
have him just fucking deck the prick.
Yeah. Really get him.
We've got an email.
Let's go into our regular feature. That's right. The only one.
For now.
Shame mail.
What a feature it is. We've had an email entitled Anonymity. It's from good pal Mark. Isaac and Declan, he says.
Stratfold here, not friend and flatmate.
True. I might be missing a key piece of information, or perhaps have forgotten an important detail from an earlier podcast, but that has never stopped me before in life from making a comment, so I'll not let it get in the way today. Good. That's
That's the sort of listener we need.
In episode 51, you relayed the epic interaction between Susan and Amazon. The part I'm questioning is that at first you were not sure if to name the lady involved, despite the fact that she'd already been identified as Joe D'Angelo's mum. Ultimately, you said you'd call her Susan, as is in fact her name. On the assumption that Joe D'Angelo is not a pseudonym, what a pseudonym it would be.
God, imagine.
What a pretentious one to come up with on the fly for us as well. We'd really be punching above
Joe
our weight.
DeMambro.
Yeah. And that as D apostrophe or variants thereof a common start to Italian surnames, it seems possible that the lady involved is Susan D'Angelo. Of course, there are many reasons why this logical progression is flawed. However, I'm not sure that being known as Joe's mum Susan makes her any less identifiable than knowing her full name to those of your audience that would be able to identify her. True. I mean, it's not her name. Her name is actually much more confusing than that.
Yeah. I think
Unpronounceable.
50% of the reason that we avoided using it was so that we didn't get it wrong.
Yeah, we could say what it's mispronounced as.
Yeah, we always call her Susan Beetlejuice.
Because of a friend of ours from the north.
Yeah.
I can't remember the context.
What?
Oh, it was like she'd commented on something on
commented on
Facebook.
yeah.
And he was like, Who's this?
Who's Susan Beetlejuice?
As if that's any human's name.
That's what the film's called in Eastern Europe.
But the world of AI, automated chatbots and phone answering systems opens a whole world of frustration and wasted time, with much mashing of hash or zero in a vain attempt to get the system to give up. Just be like, fine.
Imagine
You pressed it 8 times.
mentally exhausting a robot.
And connect you to a real person. But there again, often the person you finally get through to does not help to any great extent. Anyway, looking forward to the next 50 episodes. Perhaps the 100th will be a milestone that you'll be happy to recognise. Regards, Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
I think we
very
will
much.
be, it would be, even for us, flagrant nonsense to pretend that we wouldn't be excited about 100.
Yeah, it would be remiss.
Not going to happen for ages, of course, because
No.
although we are only $9 off our bi-weekly shame goal on patreon.com/shamecity.
Absolutely unprecedented. We had
It
2
is
more
sickening.
donations this week, didn't we?
Yes, let's do our thanks segment.
Let's absolutely go for it. So our 2 new patrons of the week are the wonderful Emily,
Hooray!
purveyor, creator of mugs,
And banner of
Sender of-
Detlevs. Banks over.
and now on the bench quite
Thoroughly.
definitively,
Yeah.
contractually even.
Certainly.
And we also very kindly had a donation from Ollie,
Yeah.
who, having only begun listening to the show seemingly at the 50th milestone, was so urged to help
Enamoured.
us.
Yeah. Maybe he just felt that we came across as very pathetic. That's the vibe.
That's always a chance when, speaking to someone who's certainly comparatively in his relative field far more successful than we
the
are.
way.
That maybe he took pity on us.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, we are
take
never
it.
too proud
No,
to
exactly.
accept it. But if you would also like
A return.
of 2 shames a week,
That would be Wednesday and Sunday. Think of that. The Lord's Day.
he's
some
not doing
religions.
anything, so we stepped up to the
Yeah.
bat, stepped up to the mark to bat.
Yeah.
Not stepped up to the bat to mark. That
Well,
would be
that
driven.
sounds like we're going to deck our housemate.
So you beat him.
Oh, we should read his poem. Maybe we do that in a...
Oh, definitely. That will be a little. What do we call them? Quick fire shames.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, sure. One of the quick fire shames available for, is that $8?
Yes, I think that's the $2 an episode tier.
Yeah.
It's worth keeping in mind as well that the value only increases. So if it reaches that goal of which we're $9 away from, then anyone who is currently paying $1 an episode will now be only paying
Yeah.
50 cents an episode.
You're paying half of what you thought you
Mad,
were
isn't
for
it?
each episode.
It's just a disgusting...
And as
generosity.
well, like that doesn't take into account the extra episode a month and the 4 quickfire shames that we'd be
At
putting
least
out as
4.
well. At least
And
4.
the bonus content on the Patreon feed.
Goodness me!
I'm going to throw up.
There's a lot.
Yeah,
There's a
it's
lot
too
to
much.
think of.
But yes, thank you to our new and old patrons. They're not really old because it's only been about a week, but so far in the past now that I can barely remember any of you. Just kidding, we love you. Don't cancel before the first of the month or nothing happens. Love you guys. Now look, one way to show your love is by Patreon, but we get it. Not everyone wants to, not everyone can. For those who can't, we have an alternative. Shame.city/reviews is the place to be. Go there on your iOS device. It'll take you straight to the iTunes page for That's a Shame, for your country as well, where you can leave a 5-star review, give it a title that you like, give us as much feedback as you would, all of it positive, preferably, or constructive at the very least.
Yeah,
But mostly positive.
definitely outlandishly positive.
Yeah, and then off we go, woo, up the charts. Currently, we're not on the charts.
No.
Would you believe?
I mean,
Not on any other
the
way.
thing is like new and noteworthy. That's gone.
Oh
Surely.
yeah, we're neither.
We don't conform.
No.
We haven't ticked at either of those.
We're too
boxes.
maverick for iTunes.
Exactly.
For the
They're-
man at Apple. Come on, tax dodging cunts. Give us a big banner on your iTunes.
And we will slave away.
We'll ignore all those workers that killed themselves in China because of your horrid conditions in your factories.
We won't even mention it. We might even come back to this episode and edit it out.
I'll probably say something positive like, God, workers' rights and Apple go together like a horse and carriage. And I'll donate blood in your name, Apple, to
Goodness
any of
me.
your workers.
Or anyone else.
Yeah, or just whoever needs it.
Any kind of malnourished
I
child
wonder
or
what blood type I have. I have the sense that it's that really magic one.
making it all the worse that you hoarded away for
I
yourself.
don't have any reason to think that other than just
other than
narcissism.
your own God
I
complex.
just assume. What if I went to donate it and it came out and it was silver or something?
Like unicorn blood.
Yeah. And then Voldemort started drinking me while I was asleep
Drinking you.
with a big straw. Horrid pervert Voldemort.
Goodness.
I can touch you now! I always hate the way he did that. Anyway, leave a review. Twitter, at That's a Shamecast, at Cynical Declan, at Isaac BD. The at That's a Shamecast has been on form lately. We've had some good tweets.
Yeah.
I realised I had a big backlog of photos that I'd just been taken. But not
No, I've got some of those as well.
So there's some good stuff there.
And we've had what I've been looking forward to and hoping for the entirety of our existence here, which is people tagging us
That is
in
good.
shames that they've found on Twitter.
Yeah, if you ever
themselves.
come across a shame, give us a tag and we'll certainly enjoy it and probably retweet and like and all that.
Almost certainly.
That's lovely. Also email.
tass@shame.city. TASS, of course, standing for That's a Shame, and therefore being spelt T-A.
Now, what sort of things are people going to email?
Anything.
Thoughts?
They could email about anonymity.
Questions? What if you found a new Proust-like quiz with which to terrorise Toby Marsden's King? We were going to do a quiz today that was about narcissism or something, but the website didn't work, so we might do that another day.
But Isaac read it and saw his own soul. So
It was just a picture of me. Is this you? Yes, 100%. But yeah, anything you have there. We also have a contact form at shame.city, which you should visit anyway because it's a real barrel of laughs. Until episode 53, or if you're a patron, then you might hear from us earlier. I've been Isaac, you've been,
I've been Declan.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes bees that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.